Hello, ARC family. Welcome to the ARC journey. I'm away from the ARC studios again tonight. I just wanted to share with you a podcast I just had recently listened to. Theology on Mission is one of the podcasts that I regularly listen to. Dave Fitch from Northwest Seminary has this incredible way of taking theological issues and relating them to culture or understanding culture or perceiving culture through three theological lenses. And in this particular podcast, called Subversive Apocalyptic, it was from February 2nd, 2023. And I went back and listened to it again because of the missional class that I'm taking at seminary right now. And he points to something that I've been wrestling with through all of this, all of the political campaigning and everything that's going on right now. We are in a polarizing culture. Culture is asking us questions in a polarizing way, in that someone says something and you either are in favor of it or you reject them. Right. So if you affirm what they're saying, then you are for them or with them. But if you reject what they're saying, then you are not with them. You're not a friend. You are outside. You are marked as an outsider. It is all this uh, um, uh, rhetoric that's going on, and culture is feeding into that, I think, at the moment with issues of sexualism, racism, justice, power. We see it in the abortion issue right now. You either affirm or you don't affirm, right? And if you aren't affirming, then you are a terrible, terrible person. And Dave Fitch in this podcast talks exactly about this. And he says, I reject the polarizing question to begin with. It is the church's mission. It's the church's mission to engage with our community. It is the church's mission because it's God's mission to restore all of creation back to Himself, right? Redeeming the entirety of creation back to Himself. And so when we get caught in these polarizing discussions, they don't go anywhere. So it is the church's mission to be able to engage with our community, to be able to listen to what they're saying, to understand the pain that people have gone through that has got them to where they are, to understand the cultural influences, to be able to look at and to be able to share how God might be able to break into people's lives and help them to see something different. So I thought it was truly powerful for him to Dave Fitch to talk about in this podcast the idea that he rejects the premise. Do we affirm or disaffirm? Do we and we have a tendency of doing the same thing, posing polarizing things. God does not accept this, so therefore you are outside of his grace. And and so it shuts down conversation. So here's the challenge, I think, that is for us, is to be able to engage people, to listen to their stories, to be able to hear and understand, and then to ask the questions. This is the subversive part that he's talking about, asking questions that actually lead to what are the deeper issues that are going on in people's lives, the things that they are not necessarily talking about, but help to inform the framework of their understanding and posing then these polarizing questions. So he says we need to engage We need to engage not in argumentative, but in subversive questions that lead to a deeper understanding. And then the apocalyptic part is to be able to show them a future and a life that is God-centered, is going to be different than the future that they can see given the framework that they understand. So the challenge for us is so strong, I think, to be able to learn to be able to learn to engage, especially with people who want to polarize the conversation, to engage with them, to be able to listen to them and not be pushed back, to listen, to understand their stories, and then to be able to ask questions that give God the opportunity, the God and the Holy Spirit, the opportunity to speak into their lives. That's what, that is the hard work of being missional in your community. And that's the challenge that we are facing in an increasingly polarizing conversation that we have when we engage with our community. So I just wanted to share that. I will give you a link to this so you can actually go listen to the podcast. Maybe even mark this as something that you want to, as you think about and as you question being missional and developing a missional culture in your church. This is a great place to go and to fuel those thoughts, because not only does he talk to us about how do we affect the community, he also challenges us. I did not realize sometimes how polarizing my conversation could be, and the questions that I am posing can be, or how they are heard by someone who is not yet a believer. So I'm praying for you. Keep up the great work. Keep shining. Here's some opportunity for some more food for or fuel for your engaging mission in your community and leading a culture of missional development in your congregation for your context. Keep shining. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.